7:03, and we want to get to some breaking news right now as we're getting a look at the first lawsuit filed against an upstate cheer gym owner accused of sexual abuse. And I have it right here in my hands. It's several pages long. The lawsuit against Scott Foster, who committed suicide last week, was filed through the Greenville County court system yesterday. The lawsuit is on behalf of one of the alleged victims and her father, who live in Greenville. Now, we've looked through it, and the allegations are quite alarming. Now, here is just one excerpt that we wanted to point out. Over the course of over a year, beginning in early 2020, Foster began to take an interest in plaintiff upon her promotion to the top-tier team within Rockstar. Over the next 6 months, Foster had multiple communications with plaintiff, primarily through Snapchat, that included messages of a sexual nature, nude pictures of himself, and requests for nude pictures of plaintiff. Now, this lawsuit goes on to say that on at least 10 occasions, Foster persuaded the victim in performing various sex acts with him in his home, his car, at the Rockstar facility, and at competitions in both South Carolina and across state borders in Florida. Now, this lawsuit is likely not the last to come. This is a case that we have been covering for several days now. Multiple law firms say that they are representing victims. A news conference was held yesterday where attorneys say that Foster supplied their clients who were cheerleaders with alcohol and abused them. The attorneys did not say exactly how many clients there are right now, but they did say that they've heard dozens of stories.
Stories that these young men and women share, the emails that we get, the direct messages that we get, just about pictures and acts, just disgusting behavior from people who are set out to be in charge and protect your children.
While Foster was from the upstate and founded the gym in Greer, he was involved with several Rockstar gyms across the country, all of which who have separated themselves and are in the process of rebranding. We've learned that Foster was under investigation by Homeland Security. Foster's wife, who co-owned that gym with him, released a statement just yesterday saying that she will cooperate with all investigations, but is focusing on providing support for their children right now. Now, you can read her entire statement and look through this lawsuit and everything else about this case inside of our Fox Carolina News app. To do that, just scan this QR code that's up right now on your screen to download it from the App Store or Google Play.